This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A day at the beach turned deadly for Grand Bahama doctor on Saturday. Tonight, Joan Davis-Roll tells us that members of his family are trying to come to terms with the tragic loss.
Leading gynecologist and well-known Grand Bahama businessman Dr. Haywood Cooper Jr. has died. Word of the doctor's passing sending shockwaves throughout the Grand Bahama community. ZNS News arrived at the Ram Memorial Hospital shortly after 3:30 p.m. on Saturday, where family members had gathered trying to make some sense of this sudden and tragic incident. According to Dr. Cooper's brother-in-law, Pastor Elvis Burrows, the entire family is in a state of shock.
The news is still sketchy. We really don't know. We know his church family was on a picnic at the beach, and something went wrong. He collapsed, I believe, and they brought him to the hospital, and apparently he didn't make it.
Dr. Cooper's elder sister Andrea Pinder, along with Pastor Burrows, say that Dr. Cooper, who was also a minister of the gospel, was full of inspiration. They reflected on his life.
I offer my condolences to you and the family. But obviously a very shocking news here today.
Yes, he was a fun-loving person, liked to make you laugh and stuff like that. Somebody who loved the Lord and interested in doing the Lord's work and helping people. That's why he went into the medical field. He was a good brother. I loved him. We have a good family. You know, we just lost our mother not too long ago, and now to lose him, it's very sad. But God is not surprised, and his grace is sufficient to take us through. I give him praise.
Dr. Cooper was a family man, someone who loves his family. He was one who, you know, we could call on, we could count on, someone who was always a pillar for all the rest of us. And, you know, I don't know how we would make it in the early days of this. You know, he was someone who, you know, loves people, loves his church, loves his God, loves his family, and loves his patients. You know, he's a gynecologist, and so many people around the city know him, and he's a very caring doctor. You know, most people will tell you that he's a very caring physician, and that's the way he is with us and with the family. And this is just devastating for us.
Dr. Haywood Cooper Jr. dead at the age of 55.
Well, earlier this week, we told you about the relocation of the Mount Carmel School to the campus of the Faith Temple Christian Academy on Prince Charles Drive. Now, to fill the void left by Mount Carmel, the New Providence Classical School will move into the old Mount Carmel building, facilitating a much-anticipated expansion plan. Our Jared Higgs has the details.
It's referred to as education of the old era. A classical education was the norm at the government high school of years past, and today, Dr. Maureen Heiler and her sister Andrea Kelly are pushing the more challenging curriculum at the New Providence Classical School.
Classical education is Sir Lyndon's education. This is education of the old era. It's an education that's much more rigorous, and it has old-fashioned values.
To facilitate plans for expansion, the school has recently acquired the old Mount Carmel property in Palmdale. The 6-year-old school, which currently has 63 students, is offering a discount on tuition to the first 100 students.
At least $1,000 discount of the year's tuition.
Top student Mariano Kelly successfully passed one BGCSE while in the 8th grade. He claims the small school benefited him both academically and socially.
Getting one-on-one with attention from teachers was definitely a big factor in helping to educate me. I really liked it because since it was a small school, you knew everyone.
Minister of Education, the Honourable Jerome Fitzgerald, weighed in on the new school, noting the significance of smaller schools.
The private institutions have their role to play, and they contribute greatly towards the educational system.
Heiler says a classical education brings about proven results, as she offered this advice to potential parents.
I want to say try it. Don't be afraid, because it's more rigorous. I want the parents to look it up. Look up classical education. It's a movement that's sweeping the world.
Jared Higgs, ZNS Network News.
BTC is tonight apologizing for a data service interruption overnight. All mobile data, DSL, and LTE services were down starting from around 9 o'clock last night. Now, the company says the service has been restored and investigation is underway. The country's newest beauty ambassadors were crowned at the Atlantis Resort yesterday, with Grand Bahama taking home both the Miss World and Universe Bahamas titles. Rosetta Cartwright beat out 6 other contestants, taking home the Miss World Bahamas title and crown. She held hands with first runner-up and second-time competitor Shanae Strawn, who represented the New Providence district. Rounding out the top 4 was second runner-up Chantal O'Brien and third runner-up Rontre Roll. Then it was on to the Miss Universe Bahamas finale later in the evening, where Grand Bahama's Thomasina Culmer captured the hearts of judges and ultimately the crown and title. She held hands with first runner-up Cara Hepburn from the New Providence district. Second runner-up was Miss Paradise Island Dominique Burrows, while Miss Eleuthera Tony Bethel took third place. Amongst the judging panel were celebrities Nicole Murphy, the ex-wife of comedian Eddie Murphy and star of VH1's Hollywood Exes, and Zuri McDaniels, the wife of Run DMC frontman Daryl McDaniels. And we'll have more on that tomorrow. In other news tonight, a team of 6 international environmentalists were recently in the Bahamas exploring development at Clifton Bay and Bimini at the invitation of the Save the Bays Coalition. They say they were shocked at what they claim is environmental damage at the hands of development. And our Sieska Adderley tells us tonight the group is urging the government to intervene.
They are professionals who ensure that water sources around the world are fishable, swimmable, and drinkable. Last week, 6 officials from the Waterkeeper Alliance were in the Bahamas inspecting crucial environmental spots, including Clifton Bay off New Providence and Bimini. Executive Director of the Biscayne Bay Waterkeepers, Rachel Silverstein, is urging the government to ensure that developments are done in a way that is sustainable.
There's a vibrant fishing, boating, diving, snorkeling industry here, and I think that the most important message and the takeaway from this is the understanding that the environment is linked to the economy here. And when we do development that damages the environment, we also damage the economy.
Waterkeeper Alliance International Director Sharon Khan says she was saddened at what she saw. Clifton Bay is just one of the areas being focused on by international environmentalists who were shocked to find oil spilling into waters surrounding Clifton Pier.
The power plant that was spewing wastewater and oil over a vast area of the sea where we were snorkeling, where people have traditionally come to go snorkeling and pay a lot of money to come and go snorkeling. So that was extremely distressing.
And for local waterkeeper and Save the Bays executive Joseph Darville, his biggest concern is the negative impact some developments will have on the country's future.
There's no longer any coastal real estate left in many countries, specifically in the United States. So the focus now is on these beautiful islands. And so they're open to what I would call invaders rather than people who come here to invest. They come here for their interests and for their benefit. And so we have to be very careful because these islands have supported our people in a very natural way for eons of time. And with unregulated development, with destructive environment, particularly damage to the marine environment, we're not going to have anything to pass on to future generations.
The environmentalists understand that development is necessary, but they say it has to be done in a way that will ensure that the country's natural resources are preserved for generations to come. Sieska Adderley, ZNS Network News.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.